Good evening one and all. I welcome you all to Ganesh IAS Academy. In today's session, we'll be seeing science and technology based current affairs from the date September 1st to September 9th, 2023. Let us get into the news articles one by one. The first news for the day is Aditya L1 halo orbit and Lagrange points. Recently, India has launched this mission, Aditya L1 mission, and with respect to Aditya L1 mission, we'll be dealing in detail about what is halo orbit and what is Lagrange point in this particular session. Okay, so we'll briefly understand what is Aditya L1 mission, what are its objectives, and then get into the details of the Lagrange point and the other details, that is halo orbit, that we have to see. Okay, so yes, what is Aditya L1 mission? Recently, India has launched, ISRO has launched Aditya L1, that is solar mission, its inaugural solar mission. So the first solar mission of India is Aditya L1, and the launch was conducted using PSLV C-57 rocket, and there is a speciality in this rocket because the PSLV is a 4-stage rocket, right? So PSLV's 4th stage was fired twice, and this is the first time in ISRO's history that the PSLV has been, the 4th stage has been fired twice. Okay, and why have they done this? To precisely insert the spacecraft into its elliptical orbit. Okay, initially the spacecraft will be having this elliptical orbit around Earth, and then it will get into that Lagrange point, okay, that halo orbit. How this will be done, those details we'll understand. Okay, Aditya L1 is the first space-based observatory class Indian solar mission. Okay, so it is observatory class Indian solar mission. Okay, to study the moon from a substantial distance of 1.5 million kilometers. Actually, the distance between Earth and the moon, Earth and the sun is 150 million kilometers. But then this satellite or this spacecraft will be placed at 1.5 million kilometers away from Earth. Okay. Next, it will take approximately 125 days to reach the L1 point. So, what is the significance of this L1 point? We need to understand, and it will take 125 days to reach that L1 point. Okay. What else do we have to understand? What are its objectives? Objectives of Aditya L1 mission. The mission aims to provide valuable insights into solar corona, photosphere, chromosphere and solar wind. These corona, photosphere and chromosphere are actually atmosphere, different layers of atmosphere of the sun. Okay, and then it will also be studying the solar wind. Okay, other than that, it has a primary objective, understanding of sun's behavior, like its radiation, heat, particle flow and magnetic field, and also how these are going to impact Earth. This is what our main concern is. So how are these radiation, heat, magnetic field and particle flow from the sun is going to impact Earth? This is what is the main study area of Aditya L1. Okay, so yeah, let us understand furthermore factual details about Aditya L1 with respect to the previous missions that we had. Okay, so we saw that Aditya L1 is the first solar mission, but it is not the first observatory class mission. Okay, so this must be clearly understood that Aditya L1 is ISRO's second astronomy observatory class mission, because already we had AstroSat in 2015. Okay, so AstroSat is India's first dedicated multi-wavelength space telescope. So AstroSat is the first observatory class mission, or it is the space telescope of India, and it was launched by PSLV XL, okay, in the year 2015 in the month of September. Okay, next, when we compare Aditya L1 with Mangalyaan with respect to the period, the time it has taken to reach the Mars, or the time this Aditya L1 will be taking to reach that halo orbit, they both are compared here. How? The mission's journey is notably shorter. Which mission's journey? Aditya L1's journey is notably shorter than the previous Mars orbiter mission, that is Mangalyaan. Mangalyaan took 298 days to reach Mars orbit. Okay, but then Aditya L1 will be taking approximately 125 days, which is considerably shorter. Okay, the spacecraft is planned to be placed in a halo orbit. First thing, we need to understand what is halo orbit. Around Lagrange point. So Lagrange point we need to understand of the Sun Earth system. And this halo orbit, to give a brief understanding, these halo orbit exist in any of the three body system. Okay, so what are the three bodies that they are talking here? It is the Sun, Earth and the orbiting satellite itself. Okay, so we have Sun, we have Earth, and then the satellite will be placed around this Lagrange point. So satellite will be revolving like this around that Lagrange point. So say for example, this is the satellite. So you have body 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so it is a three body system: Sun, Earth and the orbiting satellite. Okay, let us get into the details of what is Lagrange point and other things. Okay, so Lagrange points are special position in space. They are special positions in space. Why are they special? Because the gravitational forces of the two large orbiting bodies balances each other out at those positions. Okay, so the gravitational force of the two large orbiting bodies. So the two large bodies that they are mentioning here is the Sun and the Earth. Okay, so when the gravitational force between these two large orbiting bodies balances out each other, okay, then such positions are called as Lagrange points. And in Sun Earth system we have 5 Lagrange points. Okay, so this means a small object, say for example the spacecraft or any satellite, can stay at these points without using much fuel to maintain its orbit. This is its significance. Okay, so what is the significance of Lagrange point? Any small object, say for example a spacecraft or a telescope or anything, okay, a satellite, they can stay at these positions without using much fuel to maintain its orbit. That is the significance. Next, there are 5 Lagrange points in Sun Earth system, each with distinct characteristics. We'll understand each and every point with its characteristics, and these points enable a small mass, here the spacecraft, to orbit in a stable pattern amid two large masses, that is Sun and the Earth. Okay, in the example that we are seeing. So these are the Lagrange points. You have Sun here and then Earth is here, and you have L1 point here, L2, L3, L4 and L5. We have to understand the importance or the special features of each and every point, and why are those points chosen by countries to place their spacecraft there. All those details we need to understand. Okay, next, Lagrange point in Sun Earth system, L1, the first we have to understand. L1 is considered as the most significant of the Lagrange points of the solar observations. Okay, so for solar observations, the most significant Lagrange point is L1. A satellite placed in this halo orbit around L1 has the major advantage of continuously viewing the Sun without any occultation or eclipses. So what is occultation here? Occultation means an event that occurs when one object is hidden by another object that passes between it and the observer. Okay, so when one object is going to hide another object when it passes between the observer and the object. Okay, so such event is called as occultation. So these points will not have any occultation or eclipses, which means there won't be any shadow falling on that spacecraft. Okay, so a continuous view of Sun will be obtained. Okay, so it is currently home to solar and heliospheric observatory satellite of European Space Agency. Okay, SOHO, solar and heliospheric observatory satellite. Okay, so L1 point is currently home to this, and now Aditya L1 will also be placed in the same around the same L1 point. Next, L2 position. Position directly behind Earth as viewed from the sun. So when we view from the sun, it is positioned directly behind the Earth. So L2 is here. It is directly behind the Earth as viewed from the sun. Okay, L2 point, and L1 is between Earth and the sun. And when a spacecraft is going to revolve around this, then it will be getting, when a spacecraft is going to revolve around this point, then it will be getting a continuous view of the sun, and then there won't be any shadow of Earth falling on it. So that is the main significance of the point L1. Okay. Now L2. Okay. L2 is excellent for observing the larger universe without Earth's shadow interference. Again, the same advantage it is there with L2 point, and currently James Webb Space Telescope is orbiting around this L2 point. Okay. So such examples may also be asked in your prelims examination. So these are important. Next, L3 position. Okay, it is positioned behind sun and opposite Earth. So it is positioned behind sun and it is just opposite to Earth, L3 point. Okay, and just beyond Earth's orbit, and it is just beyond Earth's orbit, and it offers a potential observation of far side of the sun. Okay, we can observe the far side of the sun when a spacecraft is placed around this Lagrange point 3. Next, Lagrange point 4 and 5. Objects at L4 and L7 maintain a stable position. So this is very important. These 2 points are stable points, but the other 3 are unstable. Why are they unstable? We'll understand that in a short while. Here we'll understand that L4 and L5 is stable positions, and they form an equilateral triangle with 2 larger bodies. So the 2 larger bodies here are Sun and the Earth, and they form equilateral triangle. See, they form equilateral triangle with Sun and the Earth, the 2 larger bodies here. Okay, L4 and L5, and they often are used for space observatories such as those which are going to study asteroids. Okay, so L4 and L5. That is its significance, and these 2 are stable positions which has to be kept in mind. And why are L1, L2 and L3 unstable? We need to understand that now. L1, L2 and L3 are unstable, which means that a small perturbation can cause an object to drift away from them. So even if there is a slight disturbance, even if there is a slight perturbation to that spacecraft, then there are chances that they go unstable or they drift away from that orbit. So what is needed? The satellite orbiting these points need regular course correction to maintain their position. So regularly it has to be course corrected. So even Aditya L1 has to be course corrected regularly for it to maintain that orbit around Lagrange point 1. Okay, so Aditya L1 will be revolving around this Lagrange point L1 like this. Okay, yes. Next we need to understand what is this halo orbit. We are saying halo orbit, halo orbit. What is halo orbit? It is an orbit which exists in 3-body system that we understood. It is a periodic 3-dimensional orbit on one of the L1, L2 or L3. Of these 3, it can be around any of these 3 points in a 3-body problem of orbital mechanics, and this point is very important. Although the Lagrange point is just a point in empty space, Lagrange point is just a point in empty space, but then it has a unique characteristic or a peculiar characteristic. What is it? That it can be orbited by a halo orbit. It is just a point in empty space, but it can be orbited by a halo orbit. And how is this characteristic gained by this Lagrange points? We already discussed this, that it is a result of interaction between gravitational pull of the 2 planetary bodies. Okay, the gravitational force balances out, and then Coriolis and centrifugal force of the spacecraft. This is also needed because it has to maintain that orbit. So Coriolis and centrifugal force of the spacecraft on the spacecraft is also needed for the spacecraft to be in that orbit. Okay, so these are the important details which you must have to know with respect to halo orbit and Lagrange points about Aditya L1. Okay, so about Aditya L1's payload and other details we will see in the upcoming sessions. Okay, for this session we'll stop with this with respect to Aditya L1. So this is how the Aditya L1 trajectory will be looking like. So initially there will be maneuvers around the earth. Okay, so earthbound maneuvers will be there, and then it will go into this earth SOI exit. What is SOI? Sphere of influence. Okay, so earth sphere of influence exit phase will be happening, and then it will get into a cruise phase, and from cruise phase it will move into this halo orbit around the point L1, which is 1.5 million kilometers away from earth. Okay, so these details are important. Yes. So the next topic for the day is WHO's Gujarat Declaration. So what is WHO's Gujarat Declaration? What is it dealing with? Actually, it deals with traditional medicine. Okay, it deals with traditional medicine, and let us get into the details of the document and why has it been named Gujarat Declaration and other details. World Health Organization has released the outcome document of the first WHO Traditional Medicine Global Summit 2023 in the form of Gujarat Declaration. It has been named Gujarat Declaration. That is because India hosted the first WHO Global Traditional Medicine Summit at Gujarat. Okay, so that is the reason why it has been named Gujarat Declaration, and this declaration reaffirmed certain global commitments. Okay, we already have global commitments like indigenous knowledge, biodiversity, and traditional complementary and integrative medicine. Okay, traditional complementary and integrative medicines. Okay, the alternate medicine is also called as traditional complementary and integrative medicines, and these are the global commitments we already have, and this declaration has reaffirmed these global commitments now. Okay. Next, Gujarat Declaration aims to advance evidence-based traditional medicine intervention. This is very important because the major drawback for traditional medicine is that there is no proper research and development in that area. Okay, so no proper research related fund is flowing into traditional medicine research. So that is the reason why they are aiming this evidence-based traditional medicine interventions for universal health coverage and health related sustainable development goals. Of the 17 sustainable development goals, there are certain goals which focuses solely on health coverage. Okay, so universal health coverage is also a focus area of this document, this declaration. It calls for standardized documentation and data collection. These are also lacking generally when it comes to traditional medicine, so they are focusing on standardized documentation as well as data collection. Other than that, this summit explored the role of digital health technologies. Okay, so they are going to integrate artificial intelligence technology, machine learning and other technology in traditional medicine. Okay, so these are the important points with respect to Gujarat Declaration. So if there is a question like what is Gujarat Declaration related to, then it is traditional medicine. Okay, so a simple question based on this can be asked. The next topic for the day is fast infinitesimal time coalescent process. So what is this fast infinitesimal time coalescent process, also called as FIT-COAL? What is it related to? Actually, it is related to human history, human evolution. How is it related? Let us understand. Recently, a study published in Science shed light on a crucial period in human evolution. So there was a crucial period in human evolution which is marked by population bottleneck. So what is population bottleneck? Let us understand that first. Population bottleneck, also called as genetic bottleneck, is a sharp decline or reduction in the size of the population due to environmental events and human activities. So due to many environmental events or natural disasters, or even due to human activities, when there is a sharp decline in human population, that event is called as population bottleneck or genetic bottleneck. Okay, so this study has shed light on the crucial period of human evolution which is marked by population bottleneck, which means there has been a sudden dip in the human population in history, and why has that dip happened? That is what the study is focusing, and it provides insights into the challenges of our ancestors, the challenges which our ancestors faced, and also the genetic changes that shaped the modern humans. Okay, we modern humans are here now and we have evolved gradually, and what has caused this evolution finally, all those details, a clue for all these traits are there in this study. Okay, and the research team is from China, Italy and US, and they have used a novel technique, a new technique called as genomic analysis technique, which is this FITCOL. Okay, that is fast infinitesimal time coalescence process. And why are they doing this? To examine the bottleneck, the reduction in a sharp reduction in the population size. Okay, so what are all the key findings of the report and what is the technique? This method, this technique, it is a method of inferring ancient population in science. Okay, so they are going to infer ancient population size and then demographic history of humans, okay, by using a modern day human genome sequencing. We already have dealt in detail in one of our session about what is genomic sequencing. Please go have a look at it. And then this genome sequencing, using this genome sequencing, they are going to calculate the composite likelihood of the site frequency spectrum. So what is site frequency spectrum? Okay, so such terms can be asked in your prelims directly. Okay, so site frequency spectrum means distribution of allele frequency in the sequence. So what sequence are they talking about here? They are talking about the DNA sequence, the gene sequence in the DNA. Okay, so distribution of allele frequency in the sequence is called as site frequency spectrum. And what is allele here? Different forms of the same gene is called as allele. Okay, to give you an example, we all have eyes, but then our eyes are of different colors. So humans having eyes is because of a particular gene, but then we have different colored eye. Okay, some people will be having brown colored eye and some will be having black colored eye. The color of the iris. Okay, so this change in color is due to allele, which means different form of the same gene. The same gene is causing the development of eye, but then it has different forms. Because of these different forms, there are different colors. Okay, so that is caused by these alleles. Okay, we must have to understand what is allele, and the distribution of allele frequency in the sequence is called as site frequency spectrum. Okay, they are going to calculate this using human genomic sequence. That is the technique that they have adopted in this FITCOL method. Okay, and this FITCOL can detect severe bottlenecks and speciation events. Bottlenecks we have understood, but what is speciation? Speciation means formation of new species. Okay, from already existing species is called as speciation. Any small changes or small addition in the gene will be causing or will result in a new species. Okay, so that is called as speciation in human evolutionary history that are otherwise difficult to observe from the fossil records. Generally, we understand our evolutionary history from fossil records. Okay, but there are certain traits and certain characteristics which we are not able to understand using these fossil records, but then this FITCOL method of analyzing the human genome sequence will give you or will give us a greater understanding of our evolution. Okay, next, what is genome sequencing? Let us understand that first. Okay, we have already dealt about this in detail. In this session, we will briefly understand. Genome sequencing is figuring out the order of DNA nucleotides or bases in a genome. So what is genome here? Genome means set of all gene is called as genome. In a particular organism, the set of all gene is called as genome. So they are going to figure out the order of DNA nucleotides. So they are going to figure out the adenine, cytosine, guanine and thymine order, okay, that make up an organism's DNA. So DNA is generally formed using these four components, that is adenine, cytosine, guanine and then thymine. Okay, so how are they sequenced? That is what they are going to study. That is called as genome sequencing, and the genome sequence will represent a valuable shortcut which will help scientists find genes much more easily and quickly, and it does contain some clues about where the genes are. So we know where the genes are, but then scientists are just learning to interpret these clues. We haven't completely explored what genes are doing, which gene is responsible for which trait. We haven't completely understood this. We are still working on it. Okay, so that is why it is said that scientists are still learning to interpret these clues. What is the clue that we have here? The site location. Okay, where a particular gene is located, that we have located, but then what is it going to do? That we need to interpret slowly as the technology and science develops. Okay. Next, from this report, from this study, what have we understood? That the population bottleneck reduces the genetic diversity, obviously, because population bottleneck is also called as genetic bottleneck. Okay, so it reduces genetic diversity and the ability to adapt to changing conditions of the remaining population. So even after reduction of population, there will be remaining population, right? Even they will be facing certain problem of adaptations. Okay, they won't be able to adapt to the changed conditions. Okay, so that is there. And then the study reveals that severe population bottleneck occurred between 8 lakh to 9 lakh years ago, and it nearly drove the human species to brink of extinction. This is very important. This point is very important. So this study is revealing a severe population bottleneck. When has this taken place? Between 8 lakh to 9 lakh years ago from now, and it has nearly drove the human species into the brink of extinction. Okay, so to what extent? See here, during this bottleneck only approximately 1280 breeding individuals were there, which sustained the entire human population, and this situation persisted for about 1,17,000 years. Okay, so with just 1280 breeding individuals, the population has sustained from this time. Okay, so which is a major event in human history, evolutionary history. Next, what are all the causes of the bottleneck? Environmental factors. First is glaciation events, changes in temperature and severe drought. These are the major environmental factors. Glaciation, we know, ice age and other things, and then changes in temperature, extreme changes in climate, and then severe drought. All of these have caused bottlenecks, that is severe reduction in population and loss of other species which act as a food source for ancestral humans. Okay, our ancestral humans had certain food source, and if that food source is also lost due to this loss of genetic diversity, then it will contribute to furthermore bottleneck. Okay, next, loss of genetic diversity. Substantial loss of genetic diversity was observed. We are seeing numbers here. Okay, so with an estimated 65.85% of human current genetic diversity humans current genetic diversity potentially lost during the early middle Pleistocene era. Okay, and what is the time period of this era? It is from 2 million to 11,000 years. That time frame is called as Pleistocene era. Okay, so from early to middle Pleistocene era, we have experienced this substantial decrease in genetic diversity. Up to what range? Estimated 65.85% reduction in population has been experienced. Next, speciation event. We already saw formation of new species or a new variant is called as speciation, and the bottleneck event in human evolution, the event that they are talking here, has resulted in the fusion of two ancestral chromosomes forming chromosome 2 in modern humans. We modern humans have a particular chromosome called chromosome 2, and this chromosome we got from two ancestral chromosomes. Okay, so thus it is like a speciation. We have evolved into a new species, and this chromosome 2 in modern humans, it is very distinct trait in humans alone. Okay, it is not observed in any other primates. Okay, we have actually evolved from the primates, so other primates are not having this distinct trait, but then we humans have this chromosome 2 as a distinct trait. Okay, so yes, these are the important points which we need to understand with respect to this fit coal method. Okay, the next topic for the day is Bright Star 23. What is this Bright Star 23? It is an exercise which is conducted, a military exercise which is conducted in Egypt. And what is its significance? Indian Navy's INS Sumedha joins exercise Bright Star 23. Okay, so that is why it is in news. Let us get into further more details of this particular exercise. INS Sumedha, a Sarayu class naval offshore patrol vessel. Okay, so it is a Sarayu class vessel, naval offshore patrol vessel. It arrived in the port of Alexandria, which is in Egypt, for exercise Bright Star 23. Okay, what is this? It is a multinational tri-service military exercise taking place in Port Alexandria, Egypt, and 34 countries are participating this year in 2023. 34 countries are participating. Thus, it is the largest joint military exercise ever conducted in Middle East and North African region. So, points like this are important. The exercise is divided into two phases. One is the harbor phase and the other is the sea phase. Okay. Next, Indian Navy is participating for the first time in this exercise, Bright Star. Okay. So that is why it is again important. Okay. So what is Bright Star 23? It is a joint military exercise. Okay. Multinational tri-service military exercise. Who is conducting it? Egypt is conducting it, and Indian Navy is going to participate in it for the first time. Okay, so these are the details which you must know about this Bright Star 23. The next topic is Fujian venator prodigiosus. What is this Fujian venator prodigiosus? It is actually a bird-like dinosaur. Why is it in the news? Let us understand. The recent discovery of fossils of Jurassic period bird-like dinosaur. So it belongs to Jurassic period. It is a bird-like dinosaur called Fujian venator prodigiosus. Where have they found it? In southeastern China. And it has captivated scientists because it shed light on critical evolutionary stage in origin of birds. Okay, so it has given insights about origin of birds. How? This dinosaur has elongated legs and arms built much like wings. So its arms are built much like wings. Thus, it is suggestive that it might have either been a fast runner or it lived a lifestyle like a modern wading bird. Okay, so it might have been a fast runner or it might have been a modern wading bird. Next, it is classified as a member of grouping called as avialans. This is important. Okay, so what is avialans? Avialans is a group which includes all birds and their closest non-avian dinosaur relatives is called as avialans, and this bird-like dinosaur which they have found now is also categorized under this avialans because it is a non-avian dinosaur relative. And this avialans also includes all of the birds that we have now. Next, its forelimbs is generally built like a bird's wings but with a 3 claw on the fingers which are absent from the modern birds. So when you see the pictures, its forelimbs is developed like, so it has 4 limbs which is developed like wings. So its forelimb, sorry. So it has 4 limbs which is developed like wings, but then it has 3 claws. which is generally absent in other birds that we have now. We are not noticing any such claw kind of thing in birds' wings these days, but then in this fossil they have found this. Okay, so that is a very unique characteristic of this Fujian venator prodigiosus. Yes. So the next topic that we have to understand is indigenously developed nuclear power plant, nuclear power reactor. Okay. So which reactor are they talking about here? It is Kakrapar nuclear reactor, which is in Gujarat. Okay. So why is this particular reactor is in news? Because the indigenously developed 700 megawatt electricity nuclear reactor at Gujarat's Kakrapar atomic power project is now operating at full capacity. That is why it is in news. Okay. So this Kakrapar Atomic Power Project 3 is the India's largest indigenously developed pressurized heavy water reactor. Very important. Okay, statements like this are very important. It is the India's largest indigenously developed pressurized heavy water reactor, and it uses natural uranium as fuel and heavy water as moderator. Okay. Next, it features an advanced safety system called passive decay heat removal system. Okay. It has an advanced safety system called passive decay heat removal system, which is capable of removing decay heat. So what is decay heat? This can be asked in your prelims examination. Decay heat means the heat released as a result of radioactive decay is called as decay heat. And from where is this heat removed? It is removed from the nuclear reactor's core, and this system does not require any operator actions. Okay, so no operator action is needed. This safety system works on its own. Okay, and India aims to increase its nuclear power capacity from 7,480 megawatt to 22,480 megawatt by the year 2031. Okay, such statements can be directly asked in your prelims examination. Next, do we have nuclear power plants only in Kakrapar? No, we have 22 nuclear power plants operational. Now, where are they located? Coming from south, in Tamil Nadu you have Kalpakkam, that is Madras Atomic Power Station Kalpakkam, and then you also have Kudankulam Atomic Power Station. These two are in Tamil Nadu. Next, in Karnataka you have Kaiga Generating Station, and then in Maharashtra there is Tarapur Atomic Power Station. In Gujarat, Kakrapar Atomic Power Station, and in Rajasthan there is Rajasthan Atomic Power Station, and in Uttar Pradesh you have Narora Atomic Power Station. Okay, so these are the locations where atomic power reactors are there in India. 22 reactors are there now at present, which is operational. Okay, so these details are also important from your exam point of view. The last topic for the day is World Organ Donation Day. When is it celebrated? 13th August. Okay, so what is the significance of this day? World Organ Donation Day is observed every year on 13th August. Why are they celebrating it? To spread awareness about the importance of organ donation and also to bust the myths around it. There are many myths around organ donation. To bust all those myths, they are observing this particular day. And with respect to India, India's National Organ Donation Day was celebrated on 27th November, but then recently in 2023 they shifted it to August 3rd. So it becomes important. So August 3rd has been selected for the celebration of National Organ Donation Day. Why? The significance of the day is the first successful deceased heart transplant in India was conducted on this day. Okay, on 3rd August 1994. Okay, and what is organ donation? It involves surgical extraction of organs from either a living donor or a deceased donor. Okay, so in case of living donor, they will be giving their own consent, and in case of deceased donor, their next kin's consent, their close relatives' consent is taken. Okay, next, organ donation in India is regulated by Transplantation of Human Organs Act 1994. These are also important. The year is also important. Next, what are all the highlights of the new National Organ Transplantation Guidelines. Newly they have given certain guidelines, and the highlights are removal of age cap. Okay, already NATO, that is National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization, have previously prohibited end stage organ failure patients who are above 65 years from registering for organ transplant, but now this age cap has been removed because we have improved life expectancy these days. That is the reason for it. And then no domicile requirement. Any patient from any part of the country may register for this organ donation from anywhere else. Okay, so domicile requirement waived for organ recipient registration, and there is also no registration fees. Especially states like Gujarat, Telangana, Maharashtra and Kerala are no longer charging patient for these registration. Okay, so these are the important points which we need to understand with respect to the new guidelines for organ transplantation. Okay, so with this we have come to end of today's session. I hope you found the session to be useful and informative. Let us see in the next session. Okay, thank you.